Good morning, everybody. My name is Todd Ronan from Reality Forecast and at Reality Forecast on YouTube, and I'm joined with Liz Cross. Liz, happy Mother's Day weekend. How are you?
Great. Thank you.
I hope all the mothers out there had a great time. I wanted to bring in someone who I don't know if we've ever talked to, I don't know if we can do this, but Otzi the Iceman, his body was found in 1991 and he died 5,300 years ago. And I thought it would be fun to see if we could learn more about his life and about his passing.
Oh, yeah. This is fascinating. I love this. Okay. So I have him here. Now, he has reincarnated many times since this, but he's presenting himself as Otzi the Iceman. He likes his name, too, by the way.
He likes the name Otzi. What was his real name? Can you tell us that?
So back then, it was really just sort of grunts and not a sophisticated language wherever he was from. And it was more like, it was more of a noise and a grunting sort of thing.
What did he do in his life? Because he had a lot of tattoos. Did he get those for medical reasons or medicinal reasons?
You had a lot of tattoos, did you? Those were tribal. He belonged to a particular tribe, and you had to be marked, as belonging to your tribe.
He had an injury to his hand, they say, about a week before he died. What was that injury? Was it from what was it from?
He said that injury to his hand was longer than a week before he died. It was a few months before he died. What was that from? I feel he's showing me that he stabbed it with a blunt object when he was hitting something.
Was he married?
Were you married? Yes. I mean, if you want to call it marriage, yes. He was committed to someone, yes.
Did he have any kids?
Several.
What did he do during the day? What was his position like in his tribe?
What did he do during the day? Hunting, gathering, bringing home animals to, clean and gut them. Now, I feel like they didn't really waste, like how we don't eat the organ meat, right?
Right.
They did. In fact, the organ meat was more satisfying and more nutritious than the regular meat itself. Would you skin the animal? Yes, they would skin the animal. Would you use the fur? No, not really. Fur. They didn't really use the fur, but they definitely used the hide of the animal.
So the theory is that he was attacked and shot by an arrow in the back. Is that true?
You see that thing right there? That, I guess, what is that dagger?
The flint dagger, and its wicker sheath that he had.
That is exactly what he showed me he was using when he injured his hands.
There it is. There's that. What happened to him? And he was up hunting at like 10,000 feet elevation, I suppose he was hunting. And then he suffered an arrow in his back. Was he shot in the back?
Yes, he was wounded. Was it by your tribe? Yes, it was by somebody in the tribe.
Why?
Because they wanted to, get rid of his position. He was quite prominent in his tribe, actually.
Who shot him? Who murdered him?
Who murdered you? It was another male member in the tribe, a younger male member. Somebody can't believe he just told me this. He's like somebody that basically this guy, Otzi was a bit of a womanizer as well. And somebody that he was messing around with their woman. Even then, folks, 5,000 whatever years ago, jealousy was around. And didn't want him messing with his woman.
Was he surprised by the shot in the back, and did it kill him immediately, or did he suffer for a while?
Did it kill him immediately? Almost immediately. He was there for an hour or so. The guy tricked him.
He tricked him. How so?
Well, he said that there was, better hunting or some sort of animal over this way. But if we all go, because they usually go together, right? They travel together, safety in numbers. And he says, well, if let's go this way. Otzi, you're a good shot. Let's go this way, and basically set him up.
Was he surprised by this sneak attack?
Were you surprised by the sneak? Very.
What was the moment of his passing like? Who came to him, and what did he see, and what did he think?
His mother, who had gone before him. So when he was laying there passing, he said, well, this is it. He sort of accepted. He knew it was time to go anyway. I mean, he was kind of old.
He was getting up there. Yeah, in his 50s or 60s. Did they celebrate birthdays in his day, or was it just every day you have to live and try to live?
Do you celebrate birthdays? No, they didn't have like a concept of a calendar, really.
Did he have any religious beliefs in his life as Otzi the Iceman?
Did you have any religious beliefs? No, just the sky was basically their religion. Like, I guess a form of astrology, or, you kind of knew the sun, the moon, the stars.
The seasonal worship.
Yeah, and you knew that source was up there somewhere, but not a real concept of what we have today.
So he's had lots of incarnations. Did they reincarnate with the murderer?
Yes, that's a good question. That is something that they play out again and again and again.
Is he incarnation now? Is he living in our time?
No, he's in the spirit world at the moment. So something that Otzi has in his soul is that he is constantly searching and seeking for, love and self-worth through others. He's always a bit of a womanizer, actually. Isn't that bad?
Does he feel like he's going to incarnate again in the near future?
Yes, within the next 10 years.
What does he think about his notoriety as someone who is talked about and almost world-renowned 5,300 years after his death?
What do you think about you? He thinks it's great. He's like, wow, little me, just a simple hunter-gatherer, human existence, and now people are actually interested. He said nobody cared when we were alive. It really was a very difficult existence, and we didn't have explanations or reasons for things that happen. So for instance, illness, we couldn't explain what it was. Any type of illness was severe, had the, potentially severe. So even where we have a common cold, that could be the death knell. So every illness, every person that had illness had to be isolated from the tribe. They did have like a makeshift medicine person in the clan as well. And that person usually trained their children to be, medically sort of trained. They knew how to patch up wounds. There was a lot of injuries back then. So they knew how to, when somebody's bleeding out, they knew how to stop the bleeding, which was quite advanced, really, when you think about it, considering that, there was no doctors, there was no medical hospitals or anything like that. They knew how to treat things. They would make tinctures and rub, things on the wounds.
He carried with him a lot of things too.
Oh, he
Can
did?
you tell us more about what happened when he crossed over? What his life was like then? What type of experiences he had in the afterlife back then versus what type of experiences he's created in his afterlife after his most recent passing?
If
that makes sense.
I think that's a good question, because does the afterlife gain a consciousness or expand their consciousness as well?
What I'm looking for, right?
That is a great question. I love that. Does the so when you left as Otzi, when you went into the spirit world, was it more of an all-knowing? Did the consciousness change? The consciousness actually does change a little bit. Did you know more on the earth plane or more in the spirit world? More in the spirit world. Did you feel that your consciousness from spirit coming down to the earth plane at that time, did you feel that there was a massive separation? Yes, huge separation of consciousness, right? So you've gone from, you didn't, have a brain in the spirit world, but you have this all-knowing, and you come down into like a primitive, almost like animalistic existence. And when you left was you regained that level of consciousness that we have a soul, our souls are to ascend. Now, moving forward in time, has that consciousness changed? It has expanded a little bit. How has it expanded? It's expanded, he says, through like a type of ascension. Just, we're getting smarter all the time, and we're bringing that knowledge up there to the spirit world. And do we share that knowledge? Yes. So we share that knowledge and wisdom. So as humans are evolving on the earth plane, we're gathering more knowledge of, what is out there. Have you ever seen Source? No. See, that's something that I've come across many times, which is nobody's really ever allowed to see Source, because the power from Source will make you combust, right? If you get close to Source, I don't even feel like you can look at Source. But Source is there, and you have to have this respect. But it does seem like the consciousness has evolved, not only on the earth plane, but also in the spirit world. That was a good question.
Is his consciousness as Otzi able to interact with any other incarnations he's had, or is that not how? Well, I'll start with that. Can his Otzi consciousness interact with his other incarnation consciousnesses?
No. So it's, he can visit whichever aspect of the reincarnated consciousness he wants to, but it's only one at a time. That was a good question.
So is he considered an old soul, having lived 5,000 years ago?
Yeah, he's lived much longer than 5,000 years ago. He has been many animals. I feel like he is one of those that were around when the dinosaurs were, as
Is
in
he
he was an animal.
an evolved soul? What level is he at?
What level are you at? He's at 4. So level 4, you still have to reincarnate on the earth plane, but you reincarnate at a very much higher consciousness level. There's still a lot of life lessons to be had, but you're sort of on your way to not having to reincarnate again and again and again. Most people on the earth plane are level 2.
Is there anything you'd like to share with the people today about what they can do, having lived many lifetimes? How should they live a better life?
Ooh, how should they? Just basically evolve your consciousness as much as possible here on the earth plane. You know, he's saying to me, a lot of people are following a lot of wrong and bad information, trying to make sense of the world and what it is. And their consciousness is easily trapped by the dark. So you have to really, really use discernment in what you follow and hope that you don't get into like a consciousness trap, because that's the dark at play.
Does he have suggestions on how people can follow their own path of discernment and not be trapped by the dark?
Ooh.
Because it happened to him.
Well, yeah, well, yes, you're right. He got trapped and killed, but that was more of an intuitive, well, is that the same thing? Yes, he's telling me it is the same thing. It's more like using your intuition and asking the universe to show you what's right and what's wrong.
Otzi the Iceman, thank you so much for your time. It is a pleasure chatting with you. We hope to talk to you again.
That was so awesome. I love that. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye,
Ronan.
everybody.